All right, let's take a look at a new family of lowercase letters, the Q and the F. And I put these two letters together because they combine a descending loop that we have not seen yet. And these are actually the only two letters that have this type of descending loop in them. And it's a loop that comes down right on the main slant and curves to the right like this and back, okay? So we see that here in the Q, and we see it here in the F. We have seen a descending loop before in the lowercase p. So this isn't the first time we're going below the baseline, but it is the first time we're making this move down and to the right and then back and to the left, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the Q first. And with the Q, you should see that the first part of this letter is really just like the beginning of our A, okay, or our D. So there's that move, that A shape that we've already went over. And we can do that nice and big here just to go over it real quick. It starts with the overturn on our connective slant. Then we make this rounded move down and to the left. And when we hit the baseline, we make a sharp turn. And we make an underturn on our connective slant just like we're doing an I, okay? All right, that's the A shape that we're making here. This first entry stroke is on our connective slant, and so is this move here on our connective slant. All right. Now let's make the whole Q together with the loop. So we'll start with that A form first. There's that rounded turn, then up on our connective slant. And now we're going down on our main slant, making our loop. We're going to hit this downstroke right on the baseline there. And then we're just coming out on our connective slant, okay? So this loop and this downstroke is on our main slant. Entry strokes are on and our exit strokes are on our connective slant, okay? And that is the Q. Pretty simple letter. It's just a combination of a form we've already done before with the A and then this new loop that we're working on here in this lesson. All right, here's the F. This is the tallest letter in the alphabet, or one of the tallest letters. And it's really just combining the L, or the loop that we've went over in the last lesson with our ascenders, L, B, H, K. And then we're just adding this new loop, this new descending loop. So first we make our ascending loop, just like we're doing an L. And then when we come down, we're crossing at that X height. And then we're just going straight through, down through the baseline, making the same tight turn below the baseline, all the way down to that descender line. And then we're exiting on our connective slant with an underturn. Okay, so here's our connective slants in the letter, and the main slant for both of these loops are on that main slant. Now the key here, really what you're trying to go for is an equal amount of space inside both of these loops. That's what's going to make this letter look really nice. In the exemplar, I think I did a pretty good job of that. That space is really close to being equal. They don't necessarily need to be the same exact shape, but they should have the same amount of space enclosed within the loop. So let's do one more time. Coming up, making that first loop, crossing at the X height, coming down to the baseline, sharp turn there, and then we're exiting on our connective slant with an underturn. So note we have a crossing at the X height of our top loop, and then our bottom loop hits that downstroke at the baseline. Those are the two key points of this letter to keep the size right, to keep the height right. And then, of course, our hitting the descending and the ascender line. Descender and ascender line with both of those loops. It's going to keep this letter at the correct height as well. All right. A common problem you might have with this letter, which I've seen, is you do a loop like this and everything's going pretty good, and then you come down too straight like this, and you get kind of a bowed back to this F. I've seen this a lot in a lot of writing. For this script, for this traditional script, we want our downstrokes on that main slant. That's what makes everything so cohesive and really beautiful. when the back of this F is coming down. You want to feel like you're pulling down into the left here. Don't come out early like this. That's going to give you this curly look to the letter that we're going for. We want this straight back to the letter, not the curved back, okay? All right, let's do a few words here. Got 4 words for you. From is the first one, very common word while we're doing it. Uses a bunch of letters we've already studied. Make my F first. Nice F there. Into my R. To O. Finish with an M. Looking for good spacing. Consistent slant. Consistent size. All right. Size, let's check our baseline. Everything's looking good there. X height. Let's take a look at the X height. Everything's looking good on the X height. Of course, the R is going up above the X height, which is good. This crossing of the F, that happened a little bit below the X height, like right there, which is okay, but something to look for. We want to get that right at the X height if possible. Slant, the F might be a little more upright than these other letters. So that's something to pay attention to as I make more Fs. You can see this R is going in that direction and this F is kind of going out a little steeper. So let's just make sure with this next word, fulfill, which is one of the harder words to write because it has all these loops in it. And it's just very easy to be inconsistent with these loops, but we'll give it a try, see how we do. Start with the F. I want it nice and slanting this time. Not bad. Into my U. I'm going to move my hand a lot in this letter. I need to be in the right position to make all of these loops. L, back to my F again. Finish with this double L. Move my hand a little bit there before I started that last L. And we're done. All right, and we dot the I, of course. All right, so that worked out pretty good. Do a quick analysis on that. One thing I'm seeing is I crossed this, well, the loop on this F is a little bit below the base or the X height where I crossed that downstroke. And this one is definitely below the X height. So that's something I need to just work on a little bit, making sure that's crossing right at the X height. Other than that, it's looking pretty good. The spacing here is probably the tightest. It's a little tighter than right there. You can see that. And it's tighter than really the rest of the letter. Things open up more as I wrote this. So yeah, I just probably had this little tight spacing spot here. Would have liked to open that up a little bit more to match the spacing in the rest of the word. All right, let's look at a couple of words with a couple Q's in them, and having words that start with Q and then go into that U is really common. So we'll go ahead and write queen first. No entry stroke, which is fine. You can do that whenever you have this A shape and you're starting a word with it. You don't need to put that entry stroke into it. Same with your O. Make this loop on slant right up to the baseline, hitting the baseline, bouncing out to my U. My double E, I'm going to stop there, move my hand a little bit. Finish with my N. All right, very good. Only thing I'm seeing here, I mean, the X height, hitting the X height on all these letters, which is great. Same with the baseline, that looks good. Maybe a little extra space here than in the rest of this letter or word. But not bad. Slant looks good too. All right, let's do another one. Quiet. I'll put the entry stroke in on this one just because whether you use that entry stroke or not is really a matter of preference. Obviously, it saves a little space when you're not putting that entry stroke because you don't have that space, that entry stroke taking up that space when you're writing. But I guess my recommendation would just be to keep it consistent. If you're going to include the entry strokes, include them on all your words. But if you're going to omit them on these A-shaped or O-shaped words, then you can do that. Just do it for all of them. All right, what are we writing? Quiet. Q-U-I E up to my T. And you got to put the dot on there. All right. That one worked out pretty well. This I was a little funky here. I picked up the pen here. I didn't put it down in really the right spot. I should have put it down here. Have a nice sharp turn there, but overall it looks good. T could have been a little bit sharper of a move here and brought it all the way up to my X height. Very minor little detail there, but it's the details that matter, and it's really what we're learning when we learn to. We're learning to pay attention to details. I think that's one of the big reasons I think it's great for people to learn cursive, whether as an adult or as a student. Is you really learn to pay attention to details, and we're not letting any details get missed as far as we can help it. So.